Organized crime is sweeping the nation, and hard-working citizens have become targets. Now the crime wave is threatening to move into our own proud city, New Temperance. It looks as though we will all...
Welcome to the city of New Temperance. This is over towards the east of the city, around by the docks, where a freighter has just arrived with a boatload of Canadian whiskey. With the scenario for today being that one of the gangs needs to unload that Canadian whiskey on the freighter, as you can see here, get it into one of the three trucks, or all three of them, and exit the board over there with the stash of whiskey so they can then replenish the speakeasy that still remain under their control. Throughout the town, we have some tenement blocks and some office blocks with some illicit activity going on, and a nice little park in the middle with a bit of daytime drinking of non-alcoholic beer and some gambling going on. We have Cool Beans Cafe, a couple of ship factories. These aren't really going to be in play much today other than a bit of cover most likely, and a couple of factories down to this end. So quite an industrial end of the city. One side will be coming on from the western side of the town, and then moving towards the docks to prevent that shipment from leaving. The gangs for today, we've got the Birmingham Boys, today being led by Ma Polly. She's ably assisted by big brother Ezekiel, with some of their cousins rounded up to take part. Four of them are armed with rifles, one with a pistol, one with a pump-action shotgun, and some of the lower members of the crew, four Hicks armed with pistols. Over towards the American Boys, we've got the boss here, Big Tony, armed with his pistol. He's helped by his trusty sidekick, Red Dead the Devil. They've got a couple of members of their crew along with them, two armed with pump-action shotguns and another with a Tommy gun here. They've rounded up a couple of hoods, four armed with pistols, and they've also brought along a driver so that they can utilise his skills behind the wheel. We'll roll for the scenario to see who actually is trying to take the goods off, and we'll move over into turn one. So the forces have now been set up. We've got the American Boys in control of the whiskey supply at the moment, and their job is to unload it and put it into the vehicles. Each vehicle can carry 3 crates, and there are 9 in total, carried by the teamsters here. And what you'll find is that the foreman needs to be activated. We say this by saying having a nerve test. If the boss passes his nerve test, he will be able to activate the foreman, who will then activate the teamsters here, and that will then move the whiskey as per being encumbered. And what you can see is a line of gangsters have taken position just in front to protect the crucial shipment from the inevitable counterattack by the Birmingham Boys, who, as you can see, are starting to advance down the road in 2 groups. There's one this side, and then we've got one coming down the alleyway past the tenement blocks, as you can see, down towards the docks. In order to win, scores are as follows. Each crate is worth 1 point for the American Boys if they manage to get it off the table. Whereas the Birmingham Boys, they require to either destroy the crate for 1 point, or if they manage to seize the crate, they get 2 points for each crate they seize at the end of the game. So at the end of turn 1, not a lot of activity has gone on, with the exception of manoeuvring into place. So the Birmingham Boys are advancing down the road, trying to take up some positions, with the riflemen trying to take their advantageous position so they can shoot down into the market square. And this is where they are at the moment. Definitely two distinct different groups advancing down parallel to each other. However, over with the American Boys, the Gangsters have spotted the approaching Birmingham Boys and have started to take up defensive positions, utilising all the hard cover, as you can see, between the vehicles. A couple of men have gone forward to defend the market square, and you can see them just behind the stalls there. Over on the boat, the boss was successful in getting the foreman to get his teamsters working, and they started to move the crates over towards the truck, with the driver getting ready to jump in and speed off as and when required. That's the end of turn 1. Moving over to turn 2.
And hard-working citizens have become targets. Behind all this terror, gangsters. People like Arthur.
At the end of turn 2, a bit more movement has happened, with the Birmingham Boys continue to move up. The right flank has split, leaving a couple of riflemen behind to lay down some fire on the American Boys, with one small group heading towards the left using the cover of the wall, with a small group of Hicks moving towards the Hoffman and Wolf shipbuilders, the Green Factory, mainly because one of the American Boys has managed to get himself inside and wedged inside there, which is actually drawing a lot of fire as everybody's focusing on him. Whilst I say he's drawing a lot of fire, he's only taken 1 under fire marker because of his movement and being behind that wall. So quite a little bit of firing going on, not much. It's been quite ineffective so far because of the ranges. The American Boys have managed to load one of the trucks up with 3 crates, and as you see, the teamsters are just stomping back on board the freighter to collect the next round. That truck is now full, and any more barrels, boxes, crates now need to be going to one of the other 2 vehicles. The driver has now got inside the truck, ready to go. However, he can't move until that brown vehicle has moved, or he can try and drive through the mark if he really wants to. The American Boys have played quite defensively. Few of their number have moved up to the outer reaches of the market, and waiting for the Birmingham Boys to effectively come within range. And there's not a lot of cover between the Birmingham Boys and the American Boys when we get from the market perspective. Next turn, I predict it's going to be quite bloody. There's a bit of a standoff at the moment. The Birmingham Boys have the better long-range weapons. They've got 4 rifles, whereas the American Boys have the better close-range weapons with the Tommy gun and shotguns within their force. So there is a bit of a standoff, seeing how long the American Boys can withstand that firing.
Chaos has descended.
At the end of turn 3, we have the Birmingham Boys have continued to push forward quite aggressively, with a number of their number meeting in the marketplace. This has proved quite successful so far, with one of the American Boys' hoods being fouled by Mar Polly with a close range shot from a pistol. The American Boys' hitman, as you can see over there, lying in a pool of his own blood, was killed by one of the long-range rifle shots by the Birmingham Boys. However, some of their guys have been quite ineffective in their shooting, either forgetting to bring some bullets or just completely missing. The other casualty that was caused this turn was one of the American Boys' Tommy gunners. He decided he was going to leap the truck and try and shoot into these guys that were having an effect here. Whilst he was semi-effective, he was then cut down by the riflemen that were waiting here at the back. Some short-range firing is going on here in between the warehouse and the outside, with the Teamsters have now come back to the freighter and have started loading up for the second round of cargo here. That will have to go to one of the other vehicles if they want to make it off. Yeah, quite effective from the Birmingham Boys at the moment, being quite aggressive just to get across that open ground. However, next turn we'll see whether that retains, purely on the fact that a lot of the American Boys' weapons are close range weapons. Unfortunately for them, their better soldiers with the Tommy guns have now been killed, and we'll see what happens next turn.
There's a lot of scared people out there. Nice work, kid.
So at the end of turn 4, quite bloody. We have had some more shooting going on in the market sector, with the Birmingham Boys now surrounding the outer cordon of the American Boys. A couple of gangsters have been killed on both sides over here. Over at the vehicle, the shotgun-wielding Hood has managed to kill one of the Birmingham Boys' Hicks. He was the one that was moving around the corner. He did manage to get quite close, fired a couple of shots, however, in return he was then gunned down by shotgun blasts. The Teamsters are now loading up the second load of whiskey into one of the vans. I would suggest it being that one over there. And as you can see, the one that had been loaded up has now disappeared. It's now gone off towards the north. And that has now scored the American Boys 3 points for taking off the whiskey. Over here, some short-range gunnery, or actually long-range gunnery, I should say, between the two pistol-armed Punks and Hicks are still ongoing, as well as within the Hoffman and Wolf shipbuilders. They're still in exchanging fire there. Overall, the Birmingham Boys are making progress. They're whittled down quite a lot of the American Boys' muscle. And there's only a few of the American Boys left alive to prevent the Birmingham Boys getting out. And I think the weight of numbers will provide that bit of extra initiative just for the Birmingham Boys. So at the end of round 5 in New Temperance has seen the American Boys' defence collapse, with quite a number of corpses now littering the marketplace, and over here, as well as within about Hoffman and Wolf shipbuilders. Here we had Birmingham Boys was killed by the gunman inside the building, which was then killed in kind by the rifleman, who then had a nice clear shot. Over here in the marketplace, a number of short-range firing has gone on, which has left quite a number of bodies on the ground, as I've just said. Over here, 2 of the crates managed to get loaded, with the third one not being loaded, and due to the number of casualties that they've been sustaining, one of the drivers jumped in the truck over here and has sped off. This prompted a fusillade of fire from the rifleman just here, and Mar Polly, the boss, to try and slow their vehicle down. However, it's likely that vehicle is now going to drive off for on the next turn, leaving just the boss of the American Boys over here to try and save his own skin, and then try and rebuild his crew with the profits of the whiskey. That is the end of turn 5. So at the end of turn 6, Only a couple of things have happened. Predominantly, the American Boys boss has decided to run towards safety. He's been followed by a couple of the Birmingham Boys by launching a couple of shots in that direction. It's no real effect other than a bit of an under-fire marker. The truck that was here managed to escape, even though it had been shot a number of times. The driver managed to keep his cool and drove off with 2 extra barrels of whiskey, which makes it 5, has managed to get to safety. However, the Birmingham Boys have managed to seize the remainder of the whiskey and are about to have a chat with the foreman to make sure that their lads, the Teamsters now, work for them. As you see, the rest of the town is now dominated by the Birmingham Boys, and they'll be clearing up the rest of the whiskey before the police arrive. And that is the end of the game. Scores are: the American Boys have 5 points because they've managed to get 5 crates of whiskey off. The Birmingham Boys have 4 points because they've seized 4 crates of whiskey. So in that, guys, it goes very much to the American Boys for seizing that whiskey. However, when we look at casualties, the weight of casualties very much in favour of the Birmingham Boys, as they have killed all but 2 of the American Boys, losing only 3 of their number.
We've certainly got them scared down there in New Temperance. But what are you waiting for? This city is virgin territory, so get out there and take control. Do it your own way. But remember, real power is never given, it's taken.